Welcome, everybody, to the Township of North Frontenac's regular council meeting, Thursday, August the 22nd, 2024. Please be advised, North Frontenac council meetings are recorded by attending a public meeting of council, you are consenting to your image, voice, and comments being recorded. Members of council, staff, delegates, and attendees are advised that they may be subject to legal action if their actions result in inappropriate and/or unacceptable behavior or comments. We begin this gathering by acknowledging and celebrating these traditional lands as a gathering place of the first peoples and their ancestors who are entrusted to care for Mother Earth since time immemorial. We do so respecting both the land and the indigenous people who continue to walk with us through this world. Today, the Township of North Frontenac is committed to working with indigenous peoples and all residents to pursue a united path of reconciliation. The agenda. Oh, yes. Item 6, presentation. That item has been deleted or deferred from this meeting to a subsequent one. There's some medical issues that we're dealing with, so it's off the agenda. So item 6 is deleted.
Moved by Councillor Fowler, seconded by Councillor Hermer. Be it resolved that council approves the agenda dated August 22nd, 2024, as amended to defer the presentation from Emergency Management Ontario to a later date.
Any discussion? In favor? Carried. Okay. Are there any disclosures of pecuniary interest and general nature thereof? Seeing none. Business profile, Glen Haven Resort.
Moved by Councillor Hermer, seconded by Councillor Fowler. Be it resolved that council receives for information the business profile of Glen Haven Resort provided by the Economic Development Task Force.
Any comments? In favor? Carried. Item 6 is deleted. Item 7, we have no delegations. Adoption of the minutes.
Moved by Councillor Fowler, seconded by Councillor Hermer. Be it resolved that council adopts the minutes of a regular meeting of council dated July 25th, 2024 as circulated.
Comments? In favor? Carried. Business arising out of the minutes, official signing of the physician recruitment agreement.
Moved by Councillor Fowler, seconded by Councillor Hermer. Whereas at their meeting on December 15th, 2023, council passed resolution 50323 approving $15,000 per year for 5 years being provided as an incentive to a new physician at the Lakelands Family Health Team. And that upon recruitment of a physician, a medical service agreement will be provided to council for consideration. Now therefore be resolved that council receives for information an email dated July 30th, 2024 from the CAO advising Lakelands Family Health Team would like to have an official signing of the agreement by the mayor on September 16th, 2024 at the medical center, and Janice Pell, executive director, would like to invite members of council to attend the ceremony, and the council will consider the signing bylaw later in the meeting.
Comments? Deputy Mayor.
We have an ADTF meeting at 9:30. It'd be pretty hard for 3 of us to get there at 11:30 possibly. And maybe we won't talk about anything at the ADTF meeting. I don't know.
Signing of the agreement at the clinic is at 11, is it not? 11:30? Even if we start the EDTF if we start at 9 and we try to get out of here for 11 at the latest, you're still gonna be a little late. So I'm open to suggestions if you want to move it to the week. Move the EDTF to the week after. You think, Brooke?
Can you do a Zoom meeting? Or is that?
No. No, those meetings are better done in person. Sorry, it can't be the 9th because that's joint council meeting, so. Should we move it to the 23rd, Brooke? Oh my God.
23rd is good for township staff, I thought.
Yeah. Further on the, somebody wants comments from us about the zoning bylaw. This won't delay that process, I assume. No, very good. Okay, fine. Good for the 23rd.
Thanks, bro. So I wouldn't necessarily believe that.
Yes. So that 20,000, we haven't paid as of yet, right? No. Okay, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I
That
highly
quote is
doubt that's
correct.
accurate.
Cause I told them we owed that and we would be paying it, but. Okay,
In case you're interested, sorry, Dr. Weldon is here actually. He's officially here. There's no turning back now. And he will start right after this agreement is signed. So, I actually had a chance to speak to them today and they're thrilled to be here finally.
any further comments? In favor? Carried. Okay, the second item is the closure of the RDOC post office.
Moved by Counselor Hurmer, seconded by Counselor Fowler, whereas at their meeting on July 25th, 2024, Council passed Resolution 265-24, receiving for information the presentation from Anders Carson, Vice President of the Ontario branch of the Canadian Postmasters and Assistants Association regarding the closure of the RDOC post office. And whereas the postmaster for the RDOC post office is retired, and whereas the postmaster's retirement has resulted in the loss of the RDOC postal facility and the closing of the RDOC post office. Whereas Canada Post is continuing to search for a replacement postmaster and post office venue. And whereas the Township of North Frontenac is supporting Canada Post in their endeavor through social media advertising, contacting potential businesses, offering an interview location, and so forth. And whereas Canada Post search has yet to be successful with the potential for the RDOC post office to close permanently, requiring North Frontenac residents to travel to outside North Frontenac for mail services. Therefore, be it resolved that the Township of North Frontenac continues to support Canada Post in this search. The council instructs the manager of community development to investigate and provide a report back to council regarding the following options. 1, converting an existing township facility or a portion thereof suitable for use as a post office at the township's expense. 4, acquiring a specific facility such as a portable or a trailer suitable for use as a post office to be located on township property and charge Canada Post their going lease rate for use of this facility.
Thank you. I know there's been a problem, but I can manage that. Doctors haven't said I can. I'd like to add that we could possibly lease a property. So what are your comments, folks? What are your thoughts? Who's gonna lease the property? We would lease the property. Either if it was necessary. The Canada Post would be responsible for staffing it. If we don't want our staff, because this is a unionized position. And we would take Canada Post, whatever they pay for a lease, which isn't a lot. And we would make up the difference for X number of years or whatever. So let's say we leased an area that was $1,000 a month, then we get $200 from Canada Post, we'd be out $800 a month.
May I? I think we need to do something because there's a lot of people that are very unhappy about this and a lot of seniors that are not going to drive to somewhere else.
Well, the nearest place is either Northbrook or Chevrolet.
So we should figure something out, one of these options.
We're just looking, just to look at the alternatives that are available to us and some costs and so on. Counselor Hermer.
It seems the biggest problem though is the amount they want to pay in the way of wages.
Yeah, it's $18.40 and you have to pay union dues.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
And
nobody
it's a
seems to
collective
be
bargaining
interested.
agreement, eh? So they can't negotiate that. Deputy Mayor.
The first option was to use an existing township building and didn't mention revenue from Canada Post in that first option. Why not?
When let's just go ahead and just didn't put it in. When I wrote this.
Oh,
when I put it together, I know we get. 18, I don't know what the lease rate is from, you get something from Canada Post. For the facility. And it's not going to come near covering whatever we want. So we can either convert one of our existing buildings, we could buy a trailer or rent one or a portable, buy, lease, whatever it is and so on. They also have other different issues because you got to have water and sewer or have it available to the people who are there. Or we would lease an existing property somewhere. And Corey, you want to chime in here?
So Brooke and I had a meeting with the representative today from Canada Post. They have had someone express interest at this time, but it's right in the very beginning stages. So they haven't been out yet to assess the property. They haven't, so they have to do all of that. So they're not sure, but there is somebody that has expressed interest. So I did ask them in the meantime if they could send me what it is that I told them about, the mayor's resolution here, the mayor's motion for tonight. And I asked them if they would send me send us some preliminary information about what you need or what's needed for a post office so that Brooke can do a little bit of preliminary investigation while we're waiting. We also the mayor had a request from a citizen earlier last week about extending the hours at the Charlotte Lake Post Office in the meantime, because it's not ideal for sure. So I've asked them to consider that as well. And they're going to push that off to the local supervisor for the area for discussion. Let me know. So I asked them if they could give us an update or keep us in the loop, and they said they'd give us an update prior to the next council meeting as to how it's going with the person that's considering. So that would be ideal if that happens, but if it doesn't, then you guys decide where you want. That's an update as to where we're at.
Councilor Fowler, then Councilor Hood.
Yeah, maybe we should defer this to the next council meeting on the advice. With that report.
Councilor Hood.
So I mean, I agree with his resolution because we need something here in this area. The unfortunate part is that this seems that this is a federal jurisdiction and it's downloading onto the municipalities. We have the Ontario government downloading health and we're paying for a doctor to come to this area. I mean, where does it stop? So obviously I would prefer to have someone come forward than the municipality to take it on. But at the same time, I understand the need for it, but it's just, I mean, where does this stop?
Agreed. This motion was intended to basically have staff do some legwork. Could we buy a portable? If so, what would that cost? Could we actually rent it? How about a construction trailer of some type? What would that cost? Where would we put it? Could we convert part of the Clare Mill Hall to it to facilitate this? Or could we lease another space somewhere else? Wayne?
Yeah, I can see the need for it, but to me, it's gonna come down to the cost. We're not gonna keep subsidizing the provincial and federal governments for everything, like Councilor Hurdle said. That's a big thing, and I can't see what some of what you're proposing here is not gonna be cheap. Like a construction trailer, you're likely looking at 10 grand right off the bat just to even buy a used one or more. And then you look at hydro, septic, whatever.
Well, Corey and I talked about some of this, the septic and the water. If we located it somewhere close to an existing system, such as the library here in Plevna, or maybe right outside the Clare Mill Hall, then that would take care of that because you're only dealing with one person. So, Vern, then you.
Well, I agree with what Roy and Wayne said. We get enough compulsory downloads. Why volunteer for it?
Councilor Good.
Yeah, we could say that we could connect onto their septic systems and that, and you just can't do that. You gotta have permits to do it, and then they're generally septic is sized for the building that's there.
Not
Not
connect
for
onto
additional.
it, use it.
Oh, use it.
Just, yeah, so the individual has to go to the washroom, he would go to the next, or she would go to the next building and do that. Don't want to build a septic system, there's 15, 20 grand, don't want to do well, another 20 grand, don't want that. But it won't be cheap, so Councilor Regent.
Okay, so I get the province and the feds keep giving us stuff to do, but the doing nothing is not the answer. The people in this township are looking to us to figure this out, and I love these suggestions. So great job on this resolution. Um, Mayor, like you, because this is exactly what we need to get this figured out. And so a question to clarify, if you put it somewhere that was already open, they had the septic, they had the water, they had the hydro, you put it in something like that. What is a general idea of what it would cost us? If that can be answered even.
Well, the idea was to have staff look at it, see what's available, see what the cost would be. Like there is 1 or 2 spaces available within Plevna right now, but those costs may be horrendous and we just can't handle them. Or we shouldn't, because it's just too much. Corey.
So that's all, that this report, this is asking is that direct staff to look into it and bring us back information. We don't know if any of this is even feasible or until it gets looked into. So that's all it's asking at this stage.
And by the time we do it, maybe we'll have an answer from Canada Post. Councilor Hermer, you're thinking,
Would that property not have to be rezoned then? If it's residential now?
it's kind of like, well, if, for instance, you know where the library is in Plevna, there's space right beside it to put another portable or a small construction trailer in there. We'd have to build a ramp. The individual would have access to fresh water and a septic system in the Clear Mill Hall. So we'd be okay with that. But we would have to run electricity somehow. Is that what we want? Is that a possible solution?
But you could maybe put it in Clare Mill Hall.
We possibly could. But what would that do to the hall? So, it's fairly well used hall, so.
Well, must have a lot of seniors that go there. That probably are also equally upset about the fact that this might disappear, so.
Yep.
Good thing.
We're just asking staff to say, what do you think we can do? And what would the cost be? We may end up leasing someplace if it came to that, and at the last minute it falls apart because the lease amount is just too much money. Councilor Hoodle.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna vote yes for this, but I just find it ridiculous what provincial and federal government does to small municipalities like ours, so.
Huntington's closing too. Another one. So there you go. Then they'll come back. They can't find anybody. They'll come back 6 months later, put a sign up and say permanently closed. Does anybody else have any further comments before we vote? All in favor of this motion? Motion's carried. So we're into item 10, Clerk's Administrative Report, Communications A section.
Moved by Counselor Hudel, second by Counselor Hermer. Be it resolved that council receives for information Section A items of the clerk's administrative report entitled Communications of Interest.
Comments? In favor? Carried. Communications B, resident request to remove fees for brush disposal.
Moved by Counselor Hermer, second by Counselor Hudel. Be it resolved that council receives a request from a resident to waive the fee for disposal of brush at the waste sites, and that the fees were waived for 2 full summer seasons after the derecho in 2022, and that the volume of brush and construction demolition waste has increased significantly since COVID and the 2022 derecho, and that the management and grinding of waste represents a significant cost to the township. The council denies the request to waive the fee to dispose of brush and yard waste at waste sites.
Comments, Councilor Regent.
If I'm correct about this, then the gentleman who spoke to the office about this, I just want to clarify something. From what I understand, he was only requesting that we waive the fee for brush twice a year. This sounds like the request is that it's just waived completely all the time. What I understood was that he was looking to have it waived once in May and once in October. Not forever and ever, amen. That's how this reads, that it's just waived.
letter to us, right?
Yeah, I can read it. Hi Tara, I'm emailing you as a follow-up request discussed with Stephanie regarding brush and allowance for removal of dump fees for a period of time to allow property owners to clear brush without incurring significant cost, particularly for seniors and others on limited fixed income. Requesting this be brought forward at next council meeting. Please confirm receipt.
Counselor Regent.
So maybe just some clarification with him would be appropriate before we decide what to do with this, because what he indicated to me was that he was only asking for this request for once in May and once in October yearly, not all the time.
Counselor Hoodle.
So Darwin, if we were to waive it in May and waive it in October because of the cleanup months, what's the cost to the township?
Mr. Mayor, I don't have a monthly total, but when we waived it from May 2022 to November 2023, we took in about 4,000 cubic yards of brush and yard waste. So we charge less for brush because we know it's bulky, so it's $10 cubic yard, whereas construction demolition waste is 20. So that 4,000 cubic yards would be $40,000 in revenue. So, and last year we budgeted 22,000 for grinding. We used it all, and this year we budgeted 30,000. So that's probably lucky to get it done for 30. So that's our cost annually is about 30,000. I don't have a monthly number. I guess I'm assuming if we waived it those months that they'd be pretty heavy months. So people would go lighter the rest of the season and our volumes would be pretty significant those 2 months. But
I'm concerned about the 4,000 cubic yards going into the waste sites.
well, that's one reason we're grinding. So the volume is reduced and we're using it for cover, which saves us from bringing sand in. So
And that's total for all the west sites, right?
we just grind at Plevna and 506. We accept brush at Mississippi, but volumes are low and we have a significant area there for brush.
Deputy Mayor.
I'm not in favor of doing this. I agree, Jerry, that the waste sites are filling up really quickly. And quite frankly, when I get reports from consultants, I'm really skeptical about what I hear when I compare it with what I see in Lebanon. And I'm not in favor in general of taking yard waste to landfill sites.
Counselor Regent.
Sorry, question, Darwin, just to be clear, when it's delivered to 506 or to Plevna, it's ground up? The brush is like, how much room is it actually taking up?
That's right. Yeah, it's ground up. It's the expensive grinding.
Would it be possible to just maybe give like a fairly decent look at what it might only cost twice a year?
I wouldn't know what kind of volumes we'd be talking about. I know the total for the season, but I don't have a monthly volume. And then we tracked it by the load, so I guess we could look back at volumes, but then I wouldn't know how that would change if it was offered free for 2 months, but if it would just bulk up in those months. But
Okay.
Counselor Good.
I had a call from the gentleman too there and that's the only call I've had requesting this. So I don't think we should consider it until.
Any other comments?
Well, regardless of cost, I mean, everybody knows cleaning up your yard in the spring and the fall. So the majority of that cost is going to be then. And I guess my question is, where are you going to get $20,000 or $30,000 from?
At the same time, I was at the waste site on Tuesday in Mississippi, and the amount of construction waste that we're getting, I cannot believe how much it is. And they don't grind that stuff. They just sort of crush it and bury it. That's it. You know? No. So I'm just looking at a bigger picture. Counselor Fowler, then Darwin.
Does a Ministry of Environment allow for burning off stuff?
Yes, they do, and our waste bylaw has criteria for burning and the process to follow if we do it, and we did that until probably about 5 years ago. But it really turned into an issue with complaints from neighbors, and it burns forever, and you staff it all the time, it's burning. And on the brush and tree waste, like you don't get rid of the heavy material, it doesn't burn. I just think grinding is a more environmentally friendly solution. But so burning, I don't have a cost for burning, but it wasn't at zero cost. There was cost between our staff and having the fire department there. And the last we burnt 506, we had to monitor it 24 hours a day until it was out or put out.
So it's unfortunate that our fire chiefs isn't here because, you know, there's also the concern about fires and forest fires. And if you watch the news for any length of time, you know, the possibility of that happening here is not beyond the realm. And I get constant concerns from residents in my ward and other townships about, you know, why don't we have a better system for a continual process of somewhere to take our brush? Because we're told to clean up our properties, but we have nowhere to put it. You don't really want us burning it on our properties because not everyone does that correctly. So now we want to take it somewhere so it can be safely disposed of, but now we have to pay for it. Like, I just think there has to be some sort of way to, without it costing a fortune, there has to be some sort of compromise so that people will be, people will want to clean up their properties and take it somewhere appropriate. So in the event that we ever have a problem here, it's just a bit of a cleaner system. And I don't know what that is or what the cost of that is, but we are coming up on budget discussion soon. So I'd like there to be like maybe some discussion around some sort of compromise. So people can actually participate in keeping the township safe.
So Darren, I have a 4x8 utility trailer. How much does that cost me to dump? 2 feet high. It's not much because I go there twice or 3 times. That's what I'm saying.
2.5 yards.
It's $10. I mean, to me, that's very affordable.
Okay, any final comments? In favor of this motion? Opposed? Oh, sorry. I apologize. We back that up then?
You want it read
Okay.
again? No.
Yes, can you read the last?
Paragraph.
Yeah, just read the last paragraph.
And that council denies the request to waive the fee to dispose of brush and yard waste at waste sites.
Okay, in favor of this? That motion's carried. My apologies for getting that backwards. Okay, item 11, land exchange, transfer of a portion of unused portion of a forest road.
Moved by Counselor Hudel, second by Counselor Hermer. Be it resolved that council receives for information the clerk planning manager's administrative report entitled Land Exchange, Transfer a Portion of an Unused Portion of a Forest Road. The council waives the requirement for the property owners to submit a road closing application for consideration and the requirement for public notice and approves in principle the transfer of Part 11 on reference plan 13R3568 from the township to the property owner. And the council waives the land cost fee of $500 with the property owners being responsible for the preparation of the transfer and registration of the bylaw.
Comments? In favor of this motion? Motion's carried. Okay, item 11B, proposal to update the township official plan and zoning bylaw to permit additional residential units.
Moved by Counselor Hermer, second by Counselor Hudel. Be it resolved that council receives for information the clerk planning manager's administrative report entitled Proposal to Update the Township Official Plan and Zoning Bylaw to Permit Additional Residential Units. The council instructs the county planning staff to initiate the process of amending the official plan and zoning bylaw to address the issue of additional residential units in accordance with direction from the province. And the county planning staff consult with the township's economic development task force prior to drafting the official plan policies and zoning bylaw provisions. about additional residential units. And that the Township's Committee of Adjustment be requested to participate in the consultation on the draft official plan policies and zoning bylaw provisions for additional residential units, and that prior to a public meeting, the draft policy be provided to council for discussion.
Comments? Counselor Fowler, then Counselor Hoodle.
I think it's good that we're going to be doing this because we do need more people to move into the township and build our tax base.
Counselor Hoodle.
I guess my question is to Dimitri. As far as lakefront property, is that excluded in this?
Thank you for your question, Counselor. I think at this point, it's too early to tell. I would generally say yes, just because of the way that lake assessments are done in terms of nutrient loading. But it is something that we will explore with MECP, or the Ministry of Environment, Conservation and Parks. One thing I will note, though, is that, you know, if we're looking at using the additional residential unit policies for the provision of affordable housing or housing that is a little bit more attainable, I'm not sure if waterfront is the exact place for those types, for that type of housing. If you are looking at additional residential units on the waterfront, there's always the risk of those additional residential units not necessarily being used for living, but rather short-term accommodations, which come with their own set of problems, of course.
Thank you. Counselor Regent.
Hi, Dimitri. I have a lot of questions about this, but I'm going to ask you two. So the first one is, I noticed it says county planning staff will consult with the township's economic development task force, but you will request the Committee of Adjustment to actually participate. So I'm curious as to why the Economic Development Task Force is not being asked to participate, unless that's just the wording is incorrect. And the second thing is, and this is maybe not a question, but a comment. So the Economic Development Task Force has a subcommittee for affordable housing for the township. And so our input into this process is very, very important, because we've already started down a little bit of a path regarding affordable housing. So I'd just like to recommend that, you know, I really hope that the EDTF is going to be more than just consulted. We'd like to be involved.
Thank you, Counselor. I think it's just a matter of semantics. I mean, when we say consultation, it usually means you are involved, you are at the table consulting with the county staff and township staff to bring forward some kind of like solutions or bring forward some kind of policies and provisions that will be implemented into policies and provisions. So I think that consultation is a really, how do I put this? It is a comprehensive involvement in the actual consultation process and in the drafting of these policies.
Deputy Mayor.
Dimitri, are any of the other townships in the county ahead of us on this? Like, I seem to recall that South Frontenac may have already put a policy in place. Is that the case with any of the other three townships?
Thank you for the question through the mayor. South Frontenac is ahead. They have already official plan policies and zoning provisions and implementation tools for additional residential units. As far as the rest of the three townships, you're going to be the first.
It might be useful for us to see what South Frontenac has done in regards to 3 residences per lot. Just as an example. My other comment is EDTF probably won't have anything to say until after our next meeting, which is September 23rd. Is that timing okay with you?
For sure, we're flexible on the timing. It is our intention to hopefully have all of this in place and these rules and procedures in place before the 2025 building season, which usually happens around the springtime.
Any other comments? Okay, seeing none. All in favor of this motion? Anyone opposed? It's carried. Thanks, Dimitri.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
Item 11C, proposal of, shore road allowance and concession road allowance applications for approval in principle.
Moved by Counselor Hudel, second by Counselor Hermer. Be resolved that council receives for information the clerk planning manager's administrative report entitled Shore Road Allowance and Concession Road Allowance Applications for approval in principle, Clayton. The council approves in principle the applications to close, stop, up, and sell the road allowances as described below. Part of the Shore Road Allowance lying adjacent to part of Lot 13, Concession 8, and part of Lot 12, Concession 9, Geographic Township of Barry, Mississauga Lake, and part of the concession road allowance between concessions 8 and 9, Lot 12, Geographic Township of Barry, and the council authorizes the treasurer to reimburse $600 to the applicants if the township legal fees for the two applications is less than $1,200.
Comments? Seeing none, in favor of the resolution? Resolution's carried. 11D, Director of Emergency Services, Fire Chief, proposed Ontario Fire Protection Grant application.
Moved by Counselor Hermer, seconded by Counselor Hudel. Be it resolved that council receives for information the Director of Emergency Services Fire Chief's administrative report entitled Proposed Ontario Fire Protection Grant Application. The council instructs the Director of Emergency Services Fire Chief to make application for the Ontario Fire Prevention Grant for an estimated $30,000 for one PPE washer extractor, soft mounted plug and play with required equipment for cleaning, one field decontamination kit and required solution cleaning equipment, fire wipes, and two MSA G1 SCBA and two spare cylinders. And the council authorizes the DESFC to sign the agreement for funding if the application is successful.
Comments? Seeing, sorry, Deputy Mayor?
Just displaying some ignorance here. What is soft mounted plug and play mean?
Our fire chief is not here for medical reasons today, so unless someone has an explanation, you don't get your explanation, sorry.
I think Brooke has an explanation.
It just means it's plugged in and not hardwired in, so there won't be as much need for an electrician.
Soft mounted means it stands on the floor. It's not bolted to the floor.
Yes.
Councilor, right.
So that's a cool question. That's Brooke can answer this. We're asking for all this equipment and it's a grant. And I'm assuming we need this equipment. So what else if we don't get the grant?
Respectfully, I can't answer that. Sorry, I just had some information on the.
Corey, do you want to take a stab at that?
So it probably be included in the budget for consideration, to be honest with you.
Do we know what the timelines are for the grant?
The application has to be submitted by September 5th, but we don't know when we'll hear back. Oftentimes they just don't, things, for some reason, things get delayed with whoever's giving the grants and it takes a while, but.
Any other comments? In favor of the motion? Opposed? Carried. 2025 draft budget proposed meeting dates.
Moved by Counselor Hermer, seconded by Counselor Fowler. Be it resolved that council receives the treasurer's administrative report entitled 2025 Draft Budget Proposed Meeting Dates for information purposes. The council tentatively sets the 2025 budget meetings for the following dates, subject to change with advance notice given. Thursday, November 28th, 2024 at 9:00 a.m. special all-day meeting, and Friday, December 13th, 2024 at 9:00 a.m. for the regular council meeting, 2025 tax rate bylaw to be considered. Council may wish to defer if additional pertinent information is required first.
Okay, comments? I can't do the 28th. I can do 25th, 27th, 29th, 2nd, and 4th of December, but I cannot do the 28th or the 26th. Do the 29th, Friday, do the 29th. Yeah. Thinking we had a day and a half or a little more than a day and a half last year. You know, should we actually be setting aside 2 days? Sure.
Kelly, can you provide your thoughts on that, please?
So previously we were successful in completing budget in one day. I know last year, we did extend it to an extra day. So what would happen is we can plan for the 29th. If we're not able to confirm and finalize the draft budget, then we would plan something hopefully, within the next week or so, and then it may just push it to January for approval.
Counselor Good,
29th is good.
29th is good for everybody? Okay, 29th it is. And it's Friday, December the 13th. That's our council meeting. Okay, last year we had like, I swear, a day and a half. The second day we were done about 1 o'clock. We had a lot of discussions because of the amount of increase we were looking at and how to pare that down to a reasonable amount. I'd like to set aside a date in between. If we don't need it, we can cancel the meeting. But I'd like to set it aside now if we could. So in that, I'm suggesting maybe December the 5th or December the 4th, rather. That work? Okay. How about December the 6th? And tentatively December the 6th, does that work for staff?
So we could put a focus on his stuff that, the previous one before that, and then in hopes that we're there with that. Kelly, thoughts?
So my only question, I guess, would be for Tara is to have all that make it to the council meeting on the 13th. If we do it on the Friday, we may not be able to get the minutes in. I'm just not sure about timing because we usually send the agenda out on the 6th. So if we're just having the meeting on the 6th, it might.
Well, hang on. There's another option. Like last year, we didn't even start the January, and we wanted to have it done by Christmas or by the end of the year. So if we had our meetings, had everything sort of set, we have any final questions and resolutions, final decisions set for the first meeting or for the council meeting in January. Would that give everybody a little more time?
Delay it that long, there's gonna be stuff forgotten. Between the second budget meeting and the decision meeting.
I think we're flexible. I mean, the other option would be that you have a special meeting, I guess, to approve it after the 13th, but I'm not sure. We're getting close to the holiday season. So we just presented dates based on approving by the end of the year as
Well,
requested.
If we move it into under the 13th, that could be, it's just a longer council meeting. We're here anyway. Okay. So whoever put the agenda together, keep it short.
So just the one problem with that is Kelly's proposing to have the tax rate bylaw to be, and so that wouldn't be in the agenda if we're gonna do budget and then regular meeting. And
Keep in mind, it was March last year.
but I just
Yeah, got it.
can't get it in the agenda because we haven't discussed it. I mean, the other option is we could, if we had it on the 6th, we could send the agenda with everything except the tax stuff, and then we would have to amend it on the Monday, Tuesday to be able to put that in. So you guys wouldn't get to see it till Monday, Tuesday.
Sorry.
So we're flexible too to push this a little longer too. I mean, I think our understanding last year was you guys wanted to have this done sooner. So, but we're flexible, absolutely. And if you want to wait another week or two, we're okay with that. We were just trying to get where you guys were hoping to be. That's all.
Councilor Hoodle.
So we've never given you a target. So this is done in many municipalities that the target is given to staff. So that would help them.
I've never had a target ever. I really, really, really don't like referring to past experiences. At some place we did this. But at the Regional Waterloo, we had the budget started in in June, and it was finished by November, but it wasn't finished by council until February or March. So you're kind of working in the first few months, it's like we do here in kind of a never land. So we can get all the details done by Christmas time or the end of the year. I'm okay with approving it in January at the first council meeting. I'd rather we stretch it out a little bit, took our time and got it right. And for some reason, we get it all done on the first day. Maybe it comes in on the December budget or the December meeting. And if it doesn't, move it to January. What do you think?
Let's do it.
All right. That's it. So the final budget meeting, final approval will be at the January meeting. And we'll have the day we set aside, and we'll extend our December 13th council meeting for any follow-up to the original budget. And if for some reason we sort it all out first time around, maybe we can get it on December the 13th. Deputy Mayor.
Are you going to structure this meeting with the capital budget first, followed by the operating budget as in the past?
Yeah, that is the plan, that we will present capital and operating at the same meeting.
I forget what the number was. We have a built-in annual increase on the capital that we start with, don't we?
But we proposed
Percentage.
one, so I think it's going to be looked at again as part of the 2025 budget discussion. So we had lots of discussion about capital and increasing the amount that is being put into it. So I think that is going to be another discussion again, whether we want to get to the target I had proposed last year. So that'll be part of the discussions. We will do a review of the reserves within, how it is with the policy and where we're at with the reserve funds as well. At that point.
And we also have a resolution on the books by a previous council that set staff increases. So it says the August change in the cost of living, it's 2.5%. So that's something for you to think about. Okay, so what have you got for resolution?
Okay, so I added December 6th at 9, so those will be special all-day meetings if required.
No.
What?
No.
Okay,
So the first meeting is November 29th.
yeah.
The next meeting is an extension of our council meeting in December the 13th.
Oh, okay.
And then the final budget
missed
comes to
that.
council for approval, first meeting in council meeting in January.
Right.
If we need it, we can set it.
Okay, so
Cause I was hearing that it's starting to push staff too much and I want them to get it right.
and then. Okay. Okay, so now I have November 29th at 9 o'clock and December 13th following the regular council meeting. And then first regular council meeting, 2025. The 2025 tax rate bylaw to be considered, and council may wish to defer if additional pertinent information is required first. Are you ready?
Do the
No.
ninth? Well, hang on, let's not go there. Okay, so everybody in favor of this particular resolution that is now amended? Anyone opposed? That motion's carried. Okay, so, 11F. Heat pump proposal for the Ward 2 shop.
Moved by Counselor Fowler, second by Counselor Hermer. Be it resolved, the council receives the Public Works Manager's administrative report entitled Heat Pump Proposal Ward 2 Shop for information purposes. And the council approves installation of the cold climate heat pump as a sole source procurement with the additional cost to be taken from the Infrastructure Sustainability Reserve Fund.
Comments? Deputy Mayor?
Why are you sole sourcing it, Darwin?
Well, we do, in putting this together, I researched and went through it and used the information from True Comfort. So the whole proposal is based on their product and experience with it. And we use that they do our maintenance and annual service, and we're more than satisfied with the work they do.
So is this for the garage up behind here?
It services the lunchroom upstairs for Rose, and there's two offices upstairs.
Oh, so it's just the second floor of the other building.
That's right.
Right. I'm just recalling for $7,000, you don't get a very big heat pump. Basically 500 to 700 square feet. So.
Yeah, he told me how many the rating for it. I just don't recall. I do have one clarification. I thought in going through it that these were quite new for us, but manager of community development was informed me that we've put in a number of them at community facilities. So it's we're just starting to prepare our energy conservation management plan. So I see including this as one measure that we're going to promote going forward to conserve energy and meet our objectives there. But we do have some experience with them as well.
So in future considerations, you'll probably be getting quotes.
We will, yeah.
All right, any other comments? In favor of the motion? Motion's carried. 11G, hard surface roads for 2024, additional projects.
Moved by Counselor Hermer, second by Counselor Fowler. Be it resolved that council receives for information the Public Works Manager's administrative report entitled Hard Surface Roads for 2024 Additional Projects, and the council approves surface treating a portion of Head Road and pulverizing a portion of South Levant Road in preparation of the 2025 season, and that the resulting project shall not exceed the approved 2024 budget for hard surface roads, and that the Public Works Manager is directed to provide messaging on the township's website and social media advising the granular surface on South Levant Road is temporary.
Comments? Darwin, will this actually increase the available dollars to upgrade South Levant Road?
Yes, it will. I plan on spending about 150,000 on pulverizing this year, which will be 150,000 we don't have to spend next year on South Levant.
Is that the whole road? Like from right up from 519 all the way up to Wilbur?
No, this fall we're doing about 5 kilometers, depending on the budget. And it's about 11 kilometers in total, so it's a little bit less than
Where are you thinking of starting?
I'm thinking of the Wilbur end.
Coming
South
this
Levant to Cruz is probably the stretch that's in the best shape. So somewhere beyond that. But it'll be continuous. We won't skip around and pulverize and skip a section and pulverize. We'll do a straight 5.
Okay, so I misunderstood you there. I think you want to start at Wilbur and come back to Cruz Road? Or do you want to start at Cruz Road and go to 509?
No, sorry, Cruz to 509 is in the better shape.
Yeah.
The plan was to go down towards Wilbur Road and back this way.
Any final comments? Deputy Mayor?
So that'll be a gravel type surface starting sometime in the fall and through the whole winter.
It will be, yeah.
And that's a sustainable surface for plowing and so on.
It is. I'd reviewed it with the foreman here as well. We don't have any concerns maintaining it, but it's probably easier to maintain than that distorted, deformed pothole surface.
See why I want to do this road? There it is.
I struggle with saying that.
Yeah, you did a good job of it. Thanks for getting through it. Any final comments? In favor of the motion? Motion's carried. Item 12A, Committee of Adjustment, Planning Advisory Committee.
Moved by Counselor Fowler, second by Counselor Hermer. Be resolved that council receives for information the minutes of the Committee of Adjustment Planning Advisory Committee dated June 24th, 2024.
Comments? In favor? Carried. Item 13, is anyone wish to give notice of motion? Seeing none. Item 14, written notice which has been given by a member of council and approved by council at a prior meeting.
Moved by Counselor Hermer, seconded by Counselor Fowler, whereas at their meeting on June 6, 2024, council received a notice of motion requesting council discuss the implementation of a wellness check. And whereas the province of Ontario encourages seniors to remain in their own residence as long as possible. And whereas organizations such as Rural Frontenac Community Services and Land O'Lakes Community Services provide general assistance to seniors. And whereas the County of Frontenac paramedics operate an in-home support program to help seniors with non-chronic medical issues. And whereas the Ontario Provincial Police only provides support to seniors in distress on an emergency basis. And whereas the Township of North Frontenac has a substantial number of seniors who live independently and typically do not require assistance from outside services. And whereas an emergency may significantly impact a senior's ability to live independently for a short period of time. And whereas there's no existing program that provides support to seniors dealing with extensive emergency situations. And whereas the Township of North Frontenac Fire Department, along with the Emergency Management Program Committee and township staff, are best positioned to identify emergency situations, including their severity, extent, and duration. Therefore, be resolved that Council of the Township of North Frontenac direct the Township of North Frontenac Fire Department, the North Frontenac Emergency Management Program Committee, and the Township Administration to develop a seniors wellness check program to be used in times of significant emergencies, such as high wind events, extended high heat or deep cold events, extended power outages, wildfires, floods, pandemics, and so forth, in order to verify the safety and health of seniors and to direct emergency services to assist those in need.
Comments, Councilor Regent.
So I just want to say, I think this is fantastic, but I do have a couple of questions. So first of all, it would indicate Township of North Frontenac Fire Department. I'm wondering where Ward 1 is in this. Does this include Ward 1? So if it does, we need to also include our chief there. And as a result of that question, perhaps we should discuss this at the joint council meeting. So everyone that would have a responsibility in making this happen could be there.
Councilor Hoodle.
So I think this is great. I would like to see you go one step further, and why do we have to wait for emergencies to do wellness checks? Secondly, we don't have Adam here today, so I mean, maybe we should defer it to our joint meeting or then our next council meeting.
Councilor Regent.
I agree with Councilor Hudo. We're discussing something that is going to impact the fire chief and he's not even here. And to your first part of your question, like why wouldn't the fire service just do this regardless of whether or not there's an emergency? And I suppose the short answer to that is the cost, right? The cost of asking an already overloaded fire service to figure this out. You know, this may be required that the more staff is added to this department. But yes, I would agree. I think this is fantastic, but I think we need to have this discussion with everybody who's going to have some responsibility put on them.
Okay, so I wrote this. And I was contacted by several seniors who asked, you know, that they don't want us looking after them on a regular basis, but there are times when this occurs. And Roy, I'm looking at your idea as down the road. I don't think I don't think it's a bad idea, but we're not staffed for that at this point in time. This may happen. This is only in case of an emergency, and usually when the emergency management program committee meets. And it's just checking on them. There might be, and would be only those that would register for it. And as for the Barry Calidar Fire Department, I want to deal with North Frontenac first. And once we get that done, then we can invite them to see if they like to participate, because I don't want this deep six by a different council on the other side. If we think it's worthwhile, we should stand behind it. And, you know, Addington Highlands may have a different opinion. And I don't want to be relying on them to balance our decisions. Look what happened with the firefighters' benefits and so on. Councillor Good.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea too, but I just don't know if we're ready for that. And if it's an emergency, to go and check on like, say if we had a fire, high winds or whatever, the fire department is gonna be extremely busy working on that. How are they gonna have the time to go and check on people? Well, I think we're gonna be cutting it a little short, because even now, I don't know just how well-staffed the fire department is. As far as,
It may not be the fire department that actually goes and checks, but Counselor Fowler.
Yes, I know in several jurisdictions, the paramedics will often go into if the paramedic's working by himself, he may go and check in on certain seniors, and they do that. quite
Paramedics aren't
regularly.
gonna do this. They have their own program, which is really good. This is maybe once or twice a year.
They already do that. You can actually self-refer yourself to that program. You don't even have to need a doctor's referral. And I appreciate the intention of, let's try this out here, but I guarantee you two things are going to happen. Because it's already in my, it's our, like, the first question is going to be, what about Ward 1, right? I guarantee you that's going to happen when this gets out. And the second thing is, as much as I appreciate doing a test run over here, I think we have an obligation to include the other fire service. And we have an opportunity on September 9th where all the vested interest will be sitting in this room. So why not discuss it? It doesn't mean we have to do it, but why doesn't it just go on the agenda? Caledar Barrie covers a massive area. It's all of Addington Highlands, and Ward 1 is a pretty big ward. So I love this. I want to be clear. I love this. Everyone knows how I feel about healthcare. But I do think that we need to get, I'm going to say this again, sorry. We need to get all the people involved that would make this work properly.
Keep in mind that we're not doing Addington Highlands. Well, it already is the problem when we deal with Land of the Lakes Community Services and Rural Frontenac Community Services. You know, okay, so what's your wishes, folks?
Well, let's just put
I'm gonna vote for that.
processes out there. So if we say this is a great idea and our joint council meetings, the Addington Highlands fellows say it's not a good idea, are we going to not have it in wards 2 and 3?
Of course not.
Okay, then that's
But-
fine. Then we should go ahead with what Jerry says right now. And we can add them when.
And
we
have,
our meeting.
and not at least have a little bit of discussion with some people who are going to find out anyways and wonder why we didn't ask them. Yeah,
We're gonna
so
ask
why
them.
don't we
Remember
just
the-
talk about it at the joint council meetings? And if they don't want to do it, we'll do it anyways.
Remember the doctor recruitment and the comment to your comment about asking the minister to reimburse us for that $40,000, and their comment was no. That didn't sit well with me, and that's going to be on the agenda for the joint meeting. So
True, but we both townships did contribute to the cost of the recruiter. And I have no doubt, being that I sit in these meetings at the board, at the family health team, that when the two townships come together in a discussion, things go a little bit better when it involves both townships. I have a problem with doing something like this and not even talking to our friends across the highway. I have a problem with that. You have this brilliant idea and we're gonna screw it up.
So Jerry,
sorry,
you're not gonna get this, when is their joint? It's September 9th, right? You're not gonna get this,
no.
so you might as well wait till September 9th anyway.
This, I have proposed this to previous PC committee, which is the Emergency Program Committee. And it hasn't gone very far. Now we have a different fire chief. I thought it'd be a different opportunity. Had a couple of seniors that this would be a great idea. And I see you as putting in, Councilor Regent, roadblocks with the best of intentions, but I see roadblocks showing up.
Putting other people a roadblock.
I want to get it done. But it doesn't matter. So I'm only one vote. So we're going to have a vote for now, which says, do you want this now? All right.
I don't know how we can vote on this without Adam's input. Like, Jerry, I agree with this 100%, but I'd like to hear what Adam says. I think we owe it to him. Like, I'm in favor of this right now.
And you want to go farther.
I want to go farther, right?
For the record, I'm in favor of it as well. I don't appreciate the roadblock comment. I'm in favor of it as a registered nurse for 25 years and the portfolio of social services in my lap. If there's anyone sitting here that would be in favor of this, it's me. So I don't appreciate the comment. And Councillor Hoodle is correct. The fire chief has to make sure this is going to work and he's not even here.
Just a minute, who said the fire chief is going to do it?
It's been about his budget.
How do you see this working?
I don't know. You're right. How do
Uh,
see it working?
Okay, so how I see it working? So we have an emergency, you have maybe 5 or 6 or 10 individuals who are registered with the program. Someone checks on them. Phone call first, if that works, how you doing? Great. If not, then we check on them physically.
Who is that someone?
We've got staff here. When it comes to an emergency, not everyone is working here. Counselor Good.
We have staff here, but if they go and there's somebody in trouble, the staff isn't trained to look after them. That's not good.
Okay, Deputy Mayor.
Well, in reality, what happens in the community now is friends and neighbors check up on people. That's the way a small rural community works.
Not in every case, but most cases.
Okay, the other thing is, I'd like to know how the promised paramedic program is going to, I mean, this is exactly what the paramedic program was set up to do.
No, it isn't.
How is it working? Is it not working?
The paramedic program for for Frontenac works real well. And it's funded for the next 2 or 3 years. And they look after people who are waiting to get into a long-term care facility, or who should be in one but don't realize it, or who need help. So my wife, because she fell, she is as of Friday, she is in the paramedic care program. They'll come in every now and then, check her blood pressure, check her health and whatever and so on. That's what they're geared to. They won't be here in an emergency because the ambulances may not even get here. So, Counselor Regent.
You're absolutely correct, Mayor Lichty. They do not respond to emergencies. The community paramedic program is also for people like my parents who are not on a list for long-term care and will never be, because I am never doing that for them. They're going to be living with me at some point. They check on my parents, they deliver meds, they check blood pressures, blood sugars, et cetera, et cetera. There is multifacets to the community paramedic program. The point I was trying to make was, this is going to involve staffing of some sort. Regardless of where you take the staffing from, this is going to cost money. I'm not disagreeing that we shouldn't do it, even though it would cost money. But I do think we need to include the people that are going to have something to do with this. We can't go around telling people, here, you get to do this now. I'm out. It doesn't work like that. And we don't even have the fire chief here.
Okay. I'll withdraw my motion. I can't do that because I didn't make it. Did I? It's just too much here. It's got to come back. It's got to be deferred if anything else. So I'm gonna make a motion to defer it, please. Fowler, Councilor Fowler?
And I make a motion.
Councilor Hermer? Good. In favor of deferring it for the subsequent meeting? Carried. Okay. Council portfolio, verbal reports. So I don't have it on my screen, but the mayor goes first anyway. So August 1st, 24, Councilor Regent and I met with some individuals in Frontenac Shores down here in 506 to discuss further development of that facility or that development. On August the 4th, Bruley Lake, my nemesis. I met with the Bruley Lake Cottage Association. It was really good meeting. And August the 10th, I was to do a presentation at the North Frontenac Astronomy Park, dedicating one of the observatories. And because of medical issues, I asked John to do it, and I understand he did a good job. Thank you.
Thank you for the feedback. First I've heard.
I did that before I went in, so here you go. Okay, so I don't have it on the screen. Who's next? Sorry. Thank you. So, Councilor Good?
I said, I have nothing else to report other than I just received another road allowance inspection.
Councilor Regent?
So I mentioned earlier, Dr. Weldon is here. So that's kind of a little self-explanatory. He starts just after the mayor signs the agreement, so that's fantastic. My long-term care and social services portfolio might actually amount to something at some point because I will be going to a meeting. The Lake Association meetings, I haven't had really any since the last, although I did participate in an online Zoom Q&A for Lake Mazenod regarding their milfoil issue, which has turned into a huge discussion involving lots of people. So I will have a copy of that meeting, video copy of that meeting to share because the panel of experts that were on that call, they did a fantastic job. Some of the questions were and some of the questions were sort of interesting, but they were all answered. And I think the MPOA did an excellent job addressing everyone's concerns. Having said that, there are still this issue about the milfoil and what to do about it is not going to go away anytime soon. So we'll leave it at that. And then with my the OPP detachment board, where that is sort of, that's kind of a bit of a slow process. So when I have something to tell you about that, I certainly will.
Council Region, have the meeting started for that? All right, Council Hoodle?
Quiet month. I was also at that Mazenod Zoom meeting. Lots of questions, lots of still concerns. I know they're presenting next meeting. Yeah, so I will might ask some questions there. There were a lot of questions in the queue. It was hard to get in there, but there's some definite concerns with what's going on there.
Does the Mississippi Valley Conservation Authority have anything to do or any opinion on this Eurasian milfoil?
Yes, they've been included in the discussion.
Okay,
They basically are neutral on this.
the largest issue is they're putting chemicals in the lake. And no one knows what the long-term effects are. You never know the long-term effects, but that's where the concerns are floating around. I didn't mean to use the word floating, sorry. Counselor Hermer,
Nothing to report.
Counselor Fowler,
Yes, Eastern Ontario Trails Alliance, we have a meeting coming up on September 12th. The lake associations, I might have mentioned this last time, but I did attend the Palmerston Lake AGM. And the Eurasian milfoil was a big topic there as well. Seniors and law enforcement together, there's a presentation in AMPA on October 2nd. It'll be about fire safety. We should have a meeting, and I guess the meeting will be in September to take our picks and do our scheduling for next year.
Councilor, just a quick question. Do they have Eurasian milfoil in Palmerston Lake?
Yes,
They do.
we have it in Malcolm Lake, and there's a little bit in Big Gulf, but anything deeper than 20 feet doesn't have it.
And it's, that's a spring fed lake. Yeah, and it's a deep lake, but it's there. And it's not as widespread like it is some of the other lakes. It's there.
Well, there's other issues with you just beautifying your park. I mean, if there is an argument to be made, someone's making it. So it's a long process and it's not easy. Deputy Mayor.
No Lake Association meetings. I did meet with a member of the Palmerston Lake Association, and that's the first I'd heard about an interest in using a herbicide. They're taking their lead from what the people at Mazenod, who I gather have done the most research on this topic, are coming and are going to talk about it with us at the next meeting. But as soon as you say herbicide and lakes in our Frontenac, alarm bells ring. They have used this in Lake George in New York State, apparently. So I'm still very skeptical. On the other hand, this thing, and the milfoil in Palmerston Lake, for example, is coming from boaters. It's the only possible source.
Canada did Farlane Lake near Peterborough. to work there. So that's the example they're going to be using, because that's a Canadian lake. But once again, and like I said, if there's an argument made, someone's making it. It will not be an easy decision. Okay, thank you, everyone. Introduction and reading of bylaws.
Moved by Counselor Fowler, second by Counselor Hermer, be it resolved that leave be given to the mover to introduce the following bylaws that have been circulated to all members of council. Bylaw 2024-55, to sign the medical service agreement with Dr. Richard Weldon, and that this bylaw be read a first, second, and third time and finally passed.
Final comments? In favor? Carried. Public forum, do we have anyone online? No one online, no one in the council chambers. We're going to temporarily adjourn the meeting, and we're going to go into a closed session.
Moved by Counselor Good, second by Counselor Regent, be resolved that council retires to closed session at 6:17 PM to adopt closed minutes of a meeting held July 25th, 2024, and to consider advice that is subject to solicitor-client privilege.
Comments? In favor? Carried. Okay. Welcome back, everybody. Council has risen from the closed session in which we adopted the closed minutes of meeting July 25th, 24, and we discussed advice that is subject to solicitor-client privilege. Item 20, confirmatory bylaw.
By Counselor Good, second by Counselor Regent, be resolved that bylaw 24-56, being a bylaw to confirm all actions and proceedings of council for its regular meeting held August 22nd, 2024, be read a first, second, and third time and finally passed.
Comments? In favor? Motion's carried. Adjournment.
Moved by Counselor Good, second by Counselor Regent, be resolved that council adjourns to the meeting at 6:36 PM until September 12th, 2024, at the call of this meeting.
Comments? In favor? Carried. Meeting's over, folks.